Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's tutorial in which we'll be going into energy fighting. Energy fighting is the flight style in which you try to maintain or gain an energy advantage over your enemies and then use this advantage to gain position on them and eliminating them. Now, this involves a lot of stuff that is quite complex to really get a grip on, but the basics are good to know. And I will try to give you the basics and a little bit of the advanced stuff to the best of my ability to help you out, and hopefully it will be of some use to you. Now, if you do enjoy this video anywhere along the lines, make sure to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and do join me on Locals and Rumble. Links will be in the description below. Now, what actually is energy? Energy consists of two things: speed, which is actual or kinetic energy, and altitude, which is potential energy. And you can trade these two off between each other. So when you have speed, you can translate that to altitude, and when you have altitude, you can translate that into speed. Now, the ideal situation is that you hold both speed and altitude, which will give you a superior position that will usually give you the dominating position in the beginning of the match, and will give you the opportunity to dominate the match according to your flight style, but also a little bit according to the plane you have. That is of course always important, but trading off these two things between each other is important. And once you have this energy, whether it's actual energy or potential energy, you can use it. And sometimes that is a dive when you hold potential energy, and sometimes it is translating this energy into a maneuver. Do consider this very well while you're flying. Sometimes it's intuitive, sometimes it's a reflex on something that needs your immediate attention, but most of the time your maneuvers, especially during the longer distance energy fighting, will be calculated and will be thought over. And when you trade energy, you have to gain it back, right? And depending on your plane, that can be difficult or a little less difficult, but to gain it back immediately is virtually impossible, except when you dive away from your position. So, spending energy needs to be done wisely and with restraint, and always thought through as a tactical decision that I'm going to make this maneuver now and I'm going to trade this much energy for it. And depending on the plane you have, that can have dire consequences, because some planes are very good energy fighters and other planes are a little less good. But yeah, the basics of it is that you have speed, which is actual energy, or altitude, potential energy. Now, these two kinds of energy can be used in two tactical ways, two kinds of energy fighting that we can distinguish, which is positional energy fighting and maneuvering energy fighting. Positional energy fighting is like vying for position at altitude with the occasional contact. Distance will be something between 2 and 5 kilometers distance, and you are vying for position on longer distances. So you have few contacts, there is almost not a shot fired, but you're still fighting with that person or two persons. That person might be slightly below you. When you have two people slightly below you, you're trying to stay above them. One might be a good climber, other one might be a boom and zoomer. A person might be above you, you're trying to gain position and stay away from the person so he can't immediately dive on you. But this positioning during this longer range energy fighting is very important. Spending your energy very wisely and observing the plane. What kind of plane am I actually facing and what plane do I have? But it's very important. Situational awareness, seeing when people make decisions, when are they going up, when are they slowing down, when are they going into slide dive, trying to close the distance with you, all go into effective energy fighting in this form. And it is actually very important. Like this fight we have here with the Kai 84, which is an exceptional energy fighter. And this was an amazing fight. You will see it come back quite a bit. We're in the Yak 3U, which is also a good, fantastic energy fighter. But they're very close, these two planes, in performance. We're a little bit above our ideal altitude here, but this is just, it's usually longer range. There's almost not a shot fired. We were with 2 at this moment, but there will be other planes joining in that confrontation. Need situational awareness. When are the players coming into the game? And you gotta keep everything into account. So situational awareness needs to be on point. As I mentioned, plane knowledge is very important in this form of energy fighting. When you're at longer distances, you need to know what you're fighting against, as I just explained. And if your plane is not such a good plane when it comes to acceleration and regaining energy, you need to be very, very conscious of your energy. And when you expend it through a maneuver, you know, or through a deflection shot or whatever, expend that energy wisely is the message in this kind of energy fighting. You will not shoot a lot, it will be longer ranged stuff, but your energy usage is still important to come out of it alive and to come out of it in the end with an advantageous position in the maneuvering energy fighting, which is the second kind of energy fighting. This is the competitive energy fighting from 0 to 2 kilometers distance. This is much closer. You will have a much more mixed flight style with the enemy plane, with a lot of shooting involved against each other and trying to get that final shot. This is the style where air combat maneuvers come into the picture, where you actually choose to make maneuvers to try to stall the enemy plane out, like a hammerhead or a spiral climb, or a defensive corkscrew if you're the one on a lower altitude. This is things you need to take into account, and this is where knowledge comes in, right? Because air combat maneuvers are knowledge about how to move the plane, how to handle your plane, and what to actually do with your energy. Many people have often mentioned to me in my air combat maneuver series, like, I've been doing this for years, but I never knew this was an actual maneuver. So they've been using an air combat maneuver, but they never knew that it was actually a known maneuver that exists. They just did it intuitively. It is very nice to know these maneuvers from your heart and to be able to deploy them, use them at moments that they are at their best, you know. So yeah, do some study into air combat maneuvers, get to know them. There's plenty of videos around, not only from me, from other people as well. You got to know your air combat maneuvers and be able to use them on command and not just by intuitive flying. Intuitive flying is fine and it will get you a long way, but actually knowing these air combat maneuvers is something you really need to study if you want to start to excel in energy fighting. Now, controlling and using your energy will become better with this knowledge, and as I said, it is absolutely vital. That is, of course, next to your reflexes, your skill, your eye-hand coordination. That is not something you can really control. I mean, your maximum potential is what it is. Some people have great eyesight, great coordination between the hands and the eyes, but it is actually something that you can train. You know, I myself have done some martial arts in the past, have done a lot of gaming in the past, and my eye-hand coordination is very good, but it didn't always used to be that way. So you can definitely train it and make it become better. So put some time into that as well. And then, of course, you still have that using your plane to its strengths. You do have your plane, and that is vital. I mean, if I was in a more sluggish plane, less good of a climber against this Sky 84, for example, let's say I was in a 190, BF 109, oh sorry, Focke-Wulf 190, I would be in a world of hurt against this Sky 84 in this energy fight, because he would be much better than me in maintaining its energy and rebuilding it and stuff like that. So that is very, very important. Now we come to the executing part of your energy fighting. Once you went from positional energy fighting to a closer maneuvering energy fighting, you come to finishing the plane off. And in that whole process, reading the enemy plane is very important. Reading the amount of energy he has, trying to see what he's actually doing at the moment, the choices he makes. Is he going into a dive? Will he try to close the distance? You need to anticipate that, and you need to make the appropriate reactions. This is very, very important. Choosing the right maneuver at the right time, of course, is also important. When will I spend this precious energy that I have is very important to choose rightly. If you incorrectly do a maneuver and you misjudge the enemy's energy, he will be able to get shots in, and that is basically not something you want. If that does happen, make sure to keep your profile small, especially in stall maneuvers. If you do a hammerhead or if you do a spiral climb, make sure when he does get close to a shot that you angle your plane to its smallest profile to him, so that he has a difficult time shooting you and actually hitting you. Recognize your escape options when things go sour. This is very important as well. It will keep you alive, especially when you have a good diver. A plane with a good acceleration in a dive will help you do that. Of course, it mixes. Some planes don't have that, and then your escape options will be less obvious. You will need to be even more alert to that and make sure that you make the right decisions there. Now, finding that firing solution, of course, you do these maneuvers to eventually tip over and fall on your enemy and then shoot them out of the sky. This is also an art. You need to choose the right moment to get out of your maneuver when you see that the enemy plane is actually stalling. So camera work, keeping your eyes on the opponent and reading the enemy's energy, as I mentioned before, are then very vital to your success. Because you can do all this and still not get the enemy kill if you mess up that final thing. Finding that firing solution is vital. Your mindset, in the end, your mindset needs to be flexible. You need to be able to move, you need to be able to think, maneuvers, apply everything that you know at a quick basis. You need to be patient, especially in the first part. The positional energy fighting is a patience game. You just need to wait it out. If you become rash and you make a decision that is rushed, you often die, unfortunately. You need to be patient. You need to wait for the right moment that fit your plane again. And third of all, you need to be creative in your mind. Energy fighting is a very creative thing. You cannot just expend energy and expect to win. The other player will also have a brain, hopefully. And it can be an interesting fight. Of course, most of the time, if you are an experienced pilot and you've been in the game for a long time, you will be the one with the most experience. And sometimes, you know, you just face beginning players. It will be easy, but you always gotta expect an experienced pilot in that plane. So be alert, be creative with your maneuvers and the use of your plane, the use of your camera, and all in all, in the end, if you read the enemy plane correctly, you make the right decisions, you will usually end up on top. And like here, when planes come up and controlling the plane, getting the shots in, usually with stall fighting, they always get a shot, usually, but they rarely, very rarely hit, and that is something you need to learn over time. It is an art in the end to do this correctly, to see that you don't mess up that read of the enemy plane, the energy that he has, and when is the moment. Look at me here, small profile, presenting the smallest profile that I have, then turning over at the right time, using those flaps at the right moment, and then coming in for the final kill. Guys, this is it. This is about most of the information that I had in my head right now. Hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.